Good evening and welcome to Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Right here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis in Chicago, and WRLN, the best music of your life. Also in Chicago, it is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, officially checking in. Condolences go out to the family of Beverly Davis White. Thank you, Al, because I am part of her family. My aunt, Beverly, she had been sick for a while, and today was her homegoing service over at AA Rayner. It was good to see some of my cousins, whom I hadn't seen in a long time. As a matter of fact, there was one cousin in particular, Joy Mercer, and I hadn't seen her, in forever. And we had a conversation 2 weeks ago, and it's interesting and ironic all at the same time. The conversation was, she said, "Do you keep in touch with our cousins?" I said, "No, I only see them weddings and funerals." 2 weeks later, we met at a funeral, and that was for Beverly Greer White Davis White. Yeah, okay, all of those. It was good to see my cousins, the Spaldings, my cousin Marcus, who had been going bald since he was like in his teens. I'm teasing him because I'm almost there myself. And the highlight of my day was to see my son Anthony, whom I haven't talked to in a while, so which is kind of cool. He was at the funeral. And the other highlight was my brother Marvin, who lives in not California, but he lives in Atlanta. He says, "So, what do you do?" How do you answer that? "I'm the king of Dusties." You're the intruders on Bedtime Stories. So, what do you do? Well, I don't know. I'm the ambassador to a country. I don't know. I just thought that question was so funny. Good evening, Queen Shanine. my brother asked me, "So what do you do? So what have you been doing?" Nothing. Here and there, everywhere. I just didn't have the. Now, my brother, I did his reunion for his high school. I was the DJ, so that should have told him then what it is that I do. So you know, but I guess he's just following in Dad's footsteps. So he always, my dad always said, he said, "You'll never be a Sid McCoy or Al Benson." I said, "Oh," I'm like, "Who are they?" So I found out who Al Benson was. Well, at that time, Al Benson was probably one of the most popular DJs in Chicago, black DJs. Everybody knew who Al Benson was. Um, he didn't have the greatest of voices, but he was on. So, and then the other guy, of course, was Sid McCoy. Well, Sid McCoy was the voice of Soul Train, whom we listen to every Saturday morning. The announcer, not the host, but the announcer of Soul Train. He was the one that I always said, um, Soul Train, the hippest trip in America. 60 nonstop minutes of soul across the tracks of your mind. Starring Eddie Kendricks, Gladys Knight and the Pips, the Honeycomb, and Bobby Hutton, and the Soul Train Gang. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Don Cornelius. That was Sid McCoy. So I was like, oh, well, there you go. Now you know.
Now you know. Now you know.
So there we go. Put some more light on the subject. Subject being me. So, yeah, he said, "You'll never be a Al Benson or Sid McCoy." I said, "Okay, thank you." As once I heard what Al Benson sounded like, I was like, "Ooh, oh my God!" But they said uh, he was a straight up businessman. He was, at the top of his game at the time, and he got out at the top of his game. You got his voice down pretty damn good. Thank you. So, yeah, they said Sid was at the top of his game at the time when he decided he would go into the ministry. So, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. But of course, Sid went on to not only to do voiceovers and stuff. If you look back well, not that long ago, he and LaDonna Tittle were in a commercial for what is it? Goodyear, not Goodyear, Greyhound. I'm sorry. Uh, the other is the tire. Um, I saw this commercial. I'm like, that's what he looks like. Okay. Well, come to find out, he had been on a couple of shows, right? A couple of westerns. Um, he was also on. Get this. He was a regular, non-regular on Sanford and Son. He and Red Fox were good friends because back in the day, Red Fox used to spend a lot of time in Chicago. Well, Red originally is from St. Louis. So that whole St. Louis, Chicago connection. So, yeah. So Red Fox and Sid McCoy were good friends, and they always hung out, I guess, from back in the day. Red was also friends with another DJ by the name of Holmes Daly. Well, everybody knows Holmes Daly as Daddy-O Daly. Well, he and Holmes were good friends. So I guess Red's secret passion was to be a DJ at one time. But he knew he just didn't have the voice for it. So he hung out with the guys who, had the voices, who were on the radio. Daddy-O Daly started out not as a DJ, but he started out as a bartender, which is ironic because one of the guys that I work with on a daily basis is a bartender by trade and became a talk show host, and that's Matt McGill. Well, Matt is still a bartender, but radio started out as a hobby. Somebody said, "Hey, you got a great voice. Maybe you should do radio." He's like, "All right, I'll give it a try." So, no, Fred did not have the voice for radio. No, he did not. But Red Fox developed that voice for Sanford and Son. That wasn't his real voice, and he didn't walk like that. Unfortunately, he started walking like that as the character progressed, and well, as a result of walking like the character, he, his legs got bad, and that was it. He started to walk like that permanently. So if you ever watch the reruns of Sanford and Son, everybody who was in there was a former vaudeville comedian. Slappy White, Whitman Mayo, who played Grady, so on and so forth. They were all comedians. They all used to perform together. LaWanda Page, a.k.a. Aunt Esther, was a fire dancer. Oh, yeah. She was fine back in the day. But she donned this whole outfit in order to become, not so attractive. Where in real life, under those church clothes, she had a damn good body. She was, man, yo, Angie, yo. So, yeah, I mean, in real life, these people were, working professional comedians. Red put them on. He said, when I get this show, I'm calling all y'all now, okay? That whole episode of him with Lena Horne, all those people in there worked with Red Fox. They were all, vaudeville performers. And in real life, him and Lena were cool. What's up, Kiki? But it goes on and on. It's like, okay, his real name was John Elroy Sanford. His brother was named Fred Sanford. So he took his brother's name as the character. The original name of the show was called Steptoe and Son, which originated in England and was a popular show there. So they hired black writers, or at least Norman Lear did, to write this show. Well, one of the writers on the show was Richard Pryor. It don't get no better than that. It's a history lesson that, but I'm telling you, that whole act between him and Della Reese in the movie Harlem Nights, Eddie Murphy turned it into a series, which became The Royal Family. unfortunately, while on set, Red had a real heart attack. They thought it was, him going back to his old, Fred Sanford days. No, he actually had a massive heart attack and fell out on the stage during rehearsal. They tried to continue the show without him, but, to no avail. It was like the show was done because the chemistry between him and Della Reese, that there was the show. So without the two of them, there was none of them. Eddie Murphy was the producer of that show, which ran on CBS. What's up, Ronnie? What's going on? So there's your history lesson, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. Just in case you missed it, Ronnie, I was telling them the history of Fred Sanford and Red Fox. His brother's name was Fred. His name was John. Well, the name John didn't sound like, so he became Red Fox because of his red hair and, of course, his complexion. D'Angelo doing his best Prince imitation. And How Does It Feel? Or, as the name of the song is called, Untitled, right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. I was telling people offline about the whole history of Sanford and Son. Well, originally the show originated in England. It was called Steptoe and Son. They approached Red about doing it, and they were reluctant because they had seen his blue comedy act. So NBC was like always on their toes as far as, being a censor, because they were afraid what, Red or Fred was going to say. And he just kept it above board. They did a lot of editing, of course, because, every now and then, Red would get out of his character and start cussing. But for the most part, all of those actors that you saw on that show were all vaudeville comedians who had worked with Fred or Red, and also with Aunt Esther, aka LaWanda Page. LaWanda Page was a fire dancer. There's a episode where she's doing it, and it's like, she's totally out of the Aunt Esther character and in her own self. Back then, she was fine. If you look back at pictures of LaWanda Page, you were like, that's Aunt Esther? Damn, Aunt Esther was fine back then. Elizabeth, I'm coming to join you, honey. And that's your history lesson for tonight here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Hello to Queen Janine, also to my sister from another Mr. Angie, to Kiki, and to Ronnie. Thanks for checking in to Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Al Greer, you fish-eyed fool. Well, put your face in some dough and make some gorilla cookies. Here are the Isley Brothers. Old Ronald Isley with his young ass wife. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I'm jealous. I can't even get me a 50-year-old. And I'm only, well, I'm still young though. The best part of me. You're welcome for that history lesson. But But all the people that he ever worked with, he put them on the show. He made characters. Whitman Mayo became Grady. Bubba Bexley was real. His name was Bubba Bexley, and Bubba became Bubba. Slappy White was on there for the first couple of seasons as a comedian, and so on and so forth. Yes, 60 is still young. Thank you. So on and so forth. But at one point, Red got so big he wanted his own dressing room, and he didn't want to be. He did the whole Steve Harvey act. Don't speak to me. Unless you're spoken to, and all that stuff. He got he got too big for his britches. He wanted more money. He wanted a piece of the show. I mean, it was serious. Rico Suave. Yeah, he wanted a piece of the show. And Norman Lear was like, no, Ninja, you work for me. He wanted Red Fox Enterprises and everything else. Well, it got so good Sanford and Son could have gone on forever. But at one point, that you're right, they wrote him off the show for a while. He got too big for his britches, and then Grady became the principal character in the show. I'm gonna take care of you, Lamont, like you my own son. That whole thing. So, what about Aunt Esther's husband? Was he a known comedian? Yes. Yeah. What was his name? Willie in the show? Well, I forgot what his name. Woodrow. They were all comedians. They were all working in different clubs in Chicago and St. Louis. Once again, LaWanda Page used to be like dare I say it, like a stripper. She used to dance. She was a fire dancer. And she had a banging ass body. Yeah, LaWanda Page was fine back in the day. You wouldn't know to see her in Sanford and Son. She was always mean mugging. But when she smiles, you like, okay, she's not so bad. Okay. Yeah, Woodrow was on Good Times. Greg Murray. What's going on, Greg Murray? But yeah, Woodrow, he was, but they were all popular, but not popular with quote unquote white audiences. The only vaudeville people they knew about was Jack Benny, George Burns, and Phil Silvers. I'm good. I'm trying to get this new mic. I want that EV320. That's like I want it so bad I can taste the element in the mic. I love that mic. I like the old one, the RE20, but everybody got that one. I want the new, the 320, and I keep missing it on what is that, eBay. I almost got it on Friday. All I had to do was wait, and it was counting down, and I got another phone call, Greg. And it's like, So I was sitting there watching because I was going to hit it and then overbid the other guy, and I would have got the mic for $152. It's a $300 mic. Yeah. You're stuck on the RE27. I like that one too. But it doesn't sound as good as my AT2020 and not as good as the 320. So, yeah. But, different strokes for different folks. It's like, I like to stay on top of things, upgrade, that whole thing. So, every now and then I said, okay, I'm going to try another mic. I also have the what is it? The Sennheiser mic, the black one that they came out with a few years ago. All the radio stations were using that one too. Especially GCI was using. They had those in every studio. Those black, you know, what I call the microphone, like in the Wiz. Yeah, the mic. Yeah, but that was in what was that? It was the 80s that they all had those mics, and then they had these boards where they would fire up under the pots, and those little 3M boards. So I was like, wow, I want that mic. I gotta have it. I thought you were sold on Shure. I like Shure for live. I like Shure for live stuff. Like when I'm DJing or something. A nice, even a 57 with a windscreen on it. I'm cool with those. The 57 was the 58. 58 is the round one. 57 is like the drum mic. Well, the drum mic with a pop filter on it, man, is cold. Without the pop filter or the windscreen, it's good for instruments like miking a amplifier when you're playing guitar or whatever. They're cool. All you need is a Rodecaster Pro. Well, guess what? That's what this is. This is the Rodecaster Pro. Not the Pro 2, but the Pro 1. So I got that. And, it comes with, onboard processing. But it's like, I like the processing. But, Roy Jackson, I lost my cable internet. Oh, no, you're not for my entertainment. Oh, okay. No. Your seat needs a windscreen. I know, right? I know, right? But anyway, what was I saying? I gotta have that RE 320 mic. Troy said my seat needs a windscreen. Yeah, all right. But I love that. I mean, I heard the mic and I was like, I gotta get that one. Now Rick uses the old one, the RE320, the RE20, which Stevie Wonder used in the studio to do whatever. But Michael Jackson used the M7 to do Thriller, and I didn't know that. I was like, okay, which I hate. Without processing, the M7 sounds just plain. It sounds like, I mean, it's like a natural sound. I mean, it sounds like you talking, but with processing, then it's cool. The Ozzy Brothers, Footsteps in the Dark. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Hello to Royal Jackson. Thanks for checking in. Greg Murray and Troy Anthony. Of course, Greg Murray and I always talk and shop about microphones and the Rodecaster Pro. I love the Rodecaster Pro, bro. It's got 4 mic inputs, 4 headphone outputs. And of course, I can Bluetooth my phone. Yeah. The headphones you're using, Stevie Wonder told me about the Sony MDR 7506 are the best headphones in the business. Well, the ones I have here, and Greg, you're going to get mad. Well, you're not really don't get mad. You be like, oh, that's a steal. I got these at a pawn shop for like $40. A pawn shop, $40. These are $100 headphones, and they sound great. I love them. Ned Robinson, thank you so much. She said, I will always remember you from the fantasy from back in the day. And KKC, yes, I love you, man. Keep doing the damn thing. Thank you, Ned Robinson. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Man, that's from the fantasy. And I got to tell you guys, and don't tell anybody else. You know the actress Lisa Ray? Well, her real name is Lisa Ray McCoy, or just Lisa McCoy. Her daddy owned the fantasy. How do I know? We dated once, long time ago. She said, you know who my daddy is? I said, no. She said, Ray McCoy. I said, I'm out. Here's still Bill Withers. With you. And actually, Troy, what you hear is my fan in the background. That's what you hear. My fan is blowing. And it says on there, do not use in a window. Well, guess what? My fan is sitting in the window. Yeah. So it says, do not use in the window. I'll put it in the window anyway. Whatever. No, what I hear is your excessive flagellant. No, that was earlier. You see, you missed that. When I was at work, I was like, man. I'm like, what is wrong with me? I mean, I was just cutting the rug there. Yeah. I mean, for real, I was, it's like every time I got up, it was like, I was afraid. I was afraid to get up, right? For fear it might be a wet one. Greg Murray, it is also a pleasure to see you as well. Greg Murray, of course, he and I worked at Kennedy King together. And I think Greg was Troy's teacher at one time. Am I right? Am I wrong? Could be, maybe. Okay. What is this? Marshall messaged me. Oh, it's nothing. It's nothing. Oh, you never met Greg. Okay. Okay, that's probably after you left. So, yeah. The MDR 7506 are the best in the business. Well, I guess I got the best in the business then. Which is amazing because, well, I mean, we're talking about somebody who, uses their ears as their eyes. So I'm surprised the entire college didn't close after I left. You're joking. Guess what? There is no longer there's no longer a broadcasting department, Troy. So I guess you almost shut it down. But that's what I heard, that there is no broadcasting department. I'm like, are you kidding me? So the station is just running and there's no one, to take over. Once those people who are running it are gone, then I guess they're going to pretty much shut down the whole operation. They've already sold Channel 20 to WTTW. They bought it, so they have two stations, Channel 11 and Channel 20, which is public broadcasting. They had built a whole studio setup for Channel 20. I mean, they could go live. They had cameras. They were running programs just like Channel 11. But they had excuse my language, they had a badass studio. I don't know what they're doing with it now, but it's there. It's just, it's just there. And it's sad because, we meaning people who went to college there, we learned how to do radio. I think my flip-flop just broke. We learned how to do radio from Kennedy King. All of us were on at one time or another. Sean Knight, a.k.a. Richard Dio, Sam Silk, First Lady, the list goes on and on. Troy Anthony, all these people. And then, like Troy said, it's like the college, well, not the entire college, just the broadcasting department, which is sad. I'm like, wow. So that's it. So the station comes in loud and clear from my house because I'm, blocks away from Kennedy King. So it comes in like, V103. It's louder than 106.3. But it's all that processing that I put on the station before I left. I said, I gotta get it pumped. So, I went back there and put the pump on it. Of course, Kevin Brown went behind me and turned it down. They complain about it. Hey, we have to shut them, and they'll come after us, and because we's black, and they're gonna come after us, and they make us shut us. I'm like, oh God, Uncle Remus, no. No. We turn it up until they say turn it down. We don't just leave it down and say, okay, well, we're flying under the radar. No. Pump that sucker up. Turn it all the way up. We're only 250, and it's like, no. 250 and we in the ground. It's like they put the antenna in the wrong spot. Well, what do I know, right? We can turn it down then. Roger and Zap, I want to be your man. Right here on Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep, with the greatest love songs of all time. Roy Royal Jackson says, yes, Stevie is true. I was at the music shop up north years and years ago. And that was the story. If you wanted headphones and mics, Stevie preferred toys from Guitar Center, which is where I got the majority of my stuff until somebody pulled my coattail and said, hey, buddy, you don't have to buy new stuff. What you do is you wait for the other people to drop off their old stuff because they're going to upgrade. I'm like, oh, okay. So now they have this thing where they bypass they bypass the pawn shop, and it's called Offer Up. So people sell that stuff out of their house. Well, half my studio has been furnished by Offer Up and Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. The speakers are from a guy up north off of, wherever I was going, off of 57. Not 57, from 90, 94. And then the board, the guy brought the board to me at work. I said, well, I work in the South Loop. Oh, okay, buddy, I'll drop it off. $400 for the Rodecaster Pro. Greg, are you still there? You probably fainted by now. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time with the Das Band. But, excuse me, these headphones is the bomb. Diggity. They are the bomb. And I got to say this, they're some of the best headphones I've ever heard. You know, they don't sound as good as my Beats. Well, they kind of neck and neck. The Beats have a lot more bass. That's the only difference. The Beats have a lot of bass, and the Sonys. Now, the new Sonys sound like, I take that back. Not the Sonys, but the new Beats sound like Sonys. The only thing Dre gave them was the design, which is the outside of the headphones. The inside of the headphones is made by Sony because Sony bought the rights to Beats by Dre. They dropped the by Dre and they're just known as Beats, which is the slang term. But get this, the inside of the headphones are not the original. Now, when the Beats came out, on the outside it said Beats by Dre on the headband. And then on the insert it said Monster. Well, Monster still owns the rights to the ear cups that they developed, that them and Dre came up with. Well, Dre just sold the logo, the B. That's it. Sony bought the B. They didn't buy what was inside of the B. He's a great businessman, I tell you. Not so great with the women, but yeah. I'm back. Invitation. Yo, 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 Angie. Yo, Angie.
Oh,
Good God. Invitation. Why don't you come on in and let Al begin?
I tell you I love you, but you won't believe it's true.
Did you get that? Mm-mm. I'm sure my camera picked that up quickly. Squeaky chair. So one of my coworkers left me 2 frozen White Castles in the refrigerator. Well, how many people know once they defrost or thaw out, you got to go ahead and eat them? You can't refreeze White Castle hamburgers. Can't do it. So there. Plus, there's a White Castle right around the corner from my house. But trust me, I won't be spending a lot of time in there. Like Troy says, flagellants. Mm-hmm. Reveal that your love is deep inside us. Excuse me. DeBarge. Time will reveal. Right here on Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. With your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Before DeBarge, we heard from the Daz Band, which is interesting because on Wednesday, I'll be talking to one of the former members of the Daz Band. His name is Skip Martin. And he will be my special guest. I'm getting all the good guests. You know, I had Michael Cooper. I mean, the list goes on. I had the Whispers. I interviewed Bloodstone at one time. So, yeah, I'm on a roll here. You know, all the good guests. I like that. Chris Jasper. That was one of my favorite interviews right there. I'm like, man, I'm talking to Chris Jasper. I couldn't believe it. You know, because at first I was like, man, I can't wait to talk to Chris Jasper. Then I got on and I froze up when he called. I was like, it's him on the phone. I know. use a trip. Here's David Oliver. I want to write you a love song. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, on Bedtime Stories. Ah, my flip-flop. It broke. It broke for real. Wait a minute. I can fix this. I can fix my flip-flop. How do you mend a broken flip-flop? What's Al eating tonight? Well, I just got through eating two delicious White Castles, and when I do foreplay at 11 o'clock, I'll be eating spaghetti. Wonder where that came from, huh, Angie? Huh? And he's back. How do you fix a broken flip-flop? Duct tape, of course. See if that'll work. Yeah. That ought to hold it. So I was watching the news, and a young lady was doing ride sharing. She picked them up from, I think, downtown or something like that. And they wanted to come, their destination was Inglewood. She said after dropping them off in Inglewood, she was shot at several times. One bullet went through the back of her car, went through the back seat, came out through the front seat, hit her in the back, and lodged in her stomach finally. The doctor said if the bullet had been a few inches lower, she would have been paralyzed. Fortunately, she lived. So I guess she said she was holding her stomach. She said she could feel the bullet protruding from her stomach. I'm like, okay, what were they using? It was on some high-powered stuff. Like, okay. But those are some of the, I guess, the hazards of ride sharing, especially when you go into a neighborhood that, they don't know you. Well, I talk about Inglewood all the time, and there's never anything negative. Everybody else talks negative about it. Man, I wouldn't live over there. Okay. You wouldn't. And that's cool. I understand. I get it. You wouldn't live here. Okay. Why didn't you stay in Cal City? The Sister Teresa, good evening. Why didn't you stay in Cal City? Why didn't you stay in Park Forest? Why didn't you stay in Dalton? I tried to find apartments in Dalton, Calumet City, and where else? Yeah. And Park Forest was too far for me to drive. Dalton and Calumet City were cool because, that way I didn't have to worry about, getting my car booted and all that stuff. I'm like in the heart of the city, in the heart of Inglewood. So You best believe every morning I'm looking outside looking for the boot man to come and sweep the neighborhood. But with the new car, I guess none of the stuff has showed up yet from, from way back. So, yeah. So eventually I'm going to pay that off because they put a boot on the new car. I'm done. I'm done. You know, while I love living in Chicago because, I'm born and raised, I go to Atlanta or Memphis in a heartbeat. The only thing is my daughter will not let me leave. Brianna will, yeah, she will not let me leave. And that's it. She will not let me go anywhere else. Like, okay. So I'm pretty much stuck in Chicago until my daughter says I can leave. you know. And my thing was always, if I didn't get married, all right, I know they backtrack to all your different tag history. I know. But so far, there are no tickets on this new car. So, uh, but I hear you. Yeah, I know about the backtracking. They'll go back to, what was it, the license plate number that always stands out in my mind, ET6302. They'll go back to that one. That was when I had the 71 Chevy. So, yeah, I know they'll go way back. Yeah. But I had paid on it for a while, but, I fell off. So I might have to go back to 95th Street and, you know, do a little negotiating. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Put me on that young payment plan again so that don't happen. With this new car, it's like, oh, no anime. See, I know you used to be the mood man, and I know you know how to take them off. You know, yeah, I know you. Yeah, so if I ever get in that predicament, I know you can. I'm not supposed to do this, brother Greer, but take that bear trap off me. That's what I call them, the bear trap. Once they get you, that's it. You know, get right. Go ahead and just go ahead and get on the payment plan. But the thing is, for years I haven't lived in Chicago, so I was out in Dalton, I was out in Cal City, so I didn't get any tickets then. So I don't know how far back they go, but I'm going to see before, before they boot me down. Because it's like wherever you park, they're gonna give you a ticket. You sit for 3 minutes and you get out the car and you go in and grab a sandwich or something you ordered, they will get you. I've seen them boot a man's car. He just ran into Wendy's to get a hamburger downtown. Yep, that was an expensive hamburger. from one of my favorite albums by Johnny Mathis. Yep, Johnny Mathis. The name of the album is called I'm Coming Home. It was produced by Tom Bell. It was the only album produced by Tom Bell on Mr. Johnny Mathis. Johnny didn't do R&B. So when they came and said, hey, you want to do an R&B album? He's like, not necessarily, no. Two of his biggest hits became R&B hits. One of those was Simple, and the other one, Too Much, Too Little, Too Late, with Denise Williams. Those became two of his most popular songs, besides the ones that he did in the late 50s, early 60s, like Chances Are, When Sunny Gets Blue, and Misty. Well, he became known to another audience as the guy who originally recorded I'm Coming Home, which was passed on to the Spinners. And once they gave it to Felipe, it was a whole nother song. Anyway, it's bedtime stories and time to do the delivery dance here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WOSD, WDLB Indianapolis, and Chicago. And of course, the best music of your life.com.
Get the food you love with perks from Love What You Love.
I kind of like that commercial. Kind of like having a sponsor, Even though they pay once a month, that's cool, It's like whenever I get it, it's like a surprise. I'm like, oh, I got money from Grubhub. Grub What You Love. A proud sponsor here at Bedtime Stories. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. It is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep, with the greatest love songs of all time. This has got to be one of my favorite classic songs. I remember, and what made me think about this, I did a skating reunion a couple of weeks ago out in Cal Park. And I was like, I should do this as a backwards couple song because I always thought it was just so beautiful. When I worked at Roll Arena, we would turn off all the lights except for the rotating lights, which would rotate, different colors and everything else. And I would play this song. Here's Dexter Wansell on Bedtime Stories. Dexter. I love that song. It's so beautiful. You told me last night it was so beautiful. Anyway, that's an inside joke. I'll tell you about that one of these days. That joke originated back in my whole days. Yeah. Yep, my whole days. Yep. I was out there back in the day. I will tell you guys that. I was out there. When I say I was out there, I was out there. It's like Eddie Murphy used to say in his joke. He said, I come to the house and the fish would stop swimming. I I mean, I was awful back in the day. When I say I was awful, I was not good. Not good. Yeah. Sister Teresa, when I say, well, I was not good, I was no good. If you ever watch Lucifer, yeah, I think he kind of took my act, you know. What is it that you really, truly desire? You know, I mean, I would be, I didn't even know I was doing it. I'd be like hypnotizing women, you know. What is it that you truly desire? Mhm. You know, and it was like, you can't do that to everybody. You just can't. You just can't. And I used it the other day and I was like, I was so ashamed of myself. This was back in, was June. June was Black Music Month. So for the whole month, we did nothing but one hit wonders. So, of course, I would write most of them and I would record most of them in my voice. I was told I couldn't record all of them and write everything and produce it. And I'm like, okay. So one of the last days that we did it, I asked this young lady whom I work with. Now I'm not going to say her name because she don't like me as it is. So I asked her the Voices commercial. I said, you know, and her co-host said, you just going to have to put the voice on her. I said, okay. So I dropped down to one knee. I got as close to her ear as possible without her shooting me or slapping me or kicking me up under the table. I said, I really need you to do this. Please, baby. Please, baby, please. Just one last time. This is the last one of the month. So this is going to be the best one. She said, okay, Al, I'm going to do it. Okay. Came in there, did it in one take, knocked it out the park. I sent it to her. It was great. I forgot who it was for. But I personally, in my opinion, I think it was some of my best writing. I think it was some of my best writing. I can't remember exactly what it is, but I kept all of them. But, oh man, it was good. It was good. And like I said, she nailed it in one take. So I was so proud of myself. And I produced it and I sent it. And it was like, it was the last one and the best one, in my opinion. Your best writings come on your parole application. My best writings were on my parole application. You're absolutely right. Yeah. You're absolutely, positively correct. Yeah. Ah. Oh my goodness. I hate it when I get these text messages. It'll say, a reminder to send Ahmad $15 for lunch. I'm like, that was from yesterday. Is it still there? I guess so. Okay. Mm-mm. My best writings was on my parole application. I remember. I remember. I remember those days, boy, like it was yesterday. All the things I used to do. What is that? It's a song by what is this? Dave Hollister. I should play that one. Long gone are the days when I used to run the streets to get laid. Mm. Boom, boom. You know, that's got to be one of the most beautiful songs I've ever heard. Force MD's Tender Love, written by Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. That is, I mean, the string part in that song is like, it's reminiscent. I don't know if you guys listen to classical music, but it's reminiscent to me. It might not be to anybody else. Remember the piece Claire de Lune? Yeah, I had an auntie who could play Claire de Lune on the piano. I don't know if she can still play it, but I saw her today at my other auntie's funeral. Marietta, can you still play Claire de Lune on the piano? I know she's not listening to me, you know. She's probably in the bed at like, 11 o'clock, so she's probably not even listening to me. But she used to play Claire de Lune on the piano, and it was just beautiful. And I'm like, Claire de Lune is almost like it's, and you all are going to laugh at me. It's like sex. The beginning is just so, tender and, it's the foreplay part. And then it gets in the middle and it starts to, swell. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, yeah, that's my take on classical music, right? Anyway, here's Michael Franks. First of two in a row, and Lady Wants to Know on Bedtime Stories. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. I can't get over that. It's going to be a while before I even get over that. My brother asked me today. He said, "So what do you do?" Hmm. I I don't have an answer for that. What do you do? I don't I don't have an answer that I could have given him that I'm like, he's just so out of touch. You know. So what do you do? So what have you been doing for yourself? Oh, well, I'm the official, unofficial king of Dusties. So what have you been doing? I am the I'm the prince of Dusties, or the king of Dusties, or whatever I am. Like, yeah, that's who I am. That's who your brother is. And like I said earlier, I'd done a party. a reunion. He went to it was a DuSable or Dunbar, one of those schools, along with this guy named Tommy Williams. Well, Tommy was the one that hired me. He asked me, said, "Do you have a brother named Marvin Greer?" I said, "Yes." He said, "He and I went to school together." I was like, "Wow. So you all went to school with Mr. T?" He said, "No, Mr. T went to school with us." Like, oh, okay. So, yeah. And, like I said, it's always good to see family. It's just under the circumstances, weddings and funerals. It's like, oh, somebody's getting married. Okay, we're all there. Or they're having a family reunion. And they say, "Hey, cuz, we're having a family reunion." I'm like, okay, cool. When is it? Oh, it's Saturday. Well, here it is Monday. You all have been planning it for how long? But it's Saturday, so I have to rearrange my schedule to be at a family reunion. And then I get a call like 5-10 minutes later. So it's outside, so can you bring some equipment? Huh? What? Huh? Huh? That's my family. Gotta love them, though. Mr. T went to school with my brother-in-law, too. So what school was it? Was it DuSable or Dunbar? Because, my brother's so old I don't remember. He graduated in 67, I think it was. Yep, he graduated graduated in 1967. That much I remember. I remember his prom picture. And, of course, it was in black and white. So I can say that because his kids don't listen to me. My nephews and nieces, they don't listen to me. Nor does the rest of my family. They they outed me at my own dad's funeral. Yeah. Yeah, they like, you're not part of us anymore. At my dad's memorial service, they were complaining that I had just taken over. Well, the preacher that they hired to do my dad's funeral or memorial service, because dad requested to be cremated, they sent this preacher to us, and he was a PIT, preacher in training. Yeah. He was a preacher in training because he was talking about having a car jacked up and the car fell on him, and I'm like, what does this got to do with my father? So at one point, my mother nudges me like, get up there. Like, get up there and do what? What? Tap dance? This is not, I'm not that cute 10-year-old anymore that you can say, here, put on some James Brown and throw some salt on the floor and go dance. So I went up there and, because my pastor was there as well, but, he didn't do much. He didn't get a chance to get warm, when they, brought this other guy out. So that's what happened. I had to save the funeral. So I, did what I normally do when I'm emceeing. How about it, gang, for so and so, and then here's so, and then there's hello to my taste family over here, and hello to my my radio family over there, and they were like, "Who do you think you are, Steve Harvey or something?" And it's ironic because I had on the same suit today that I had on. What was it 12 years ago when Daddy died? Yeah, had the same suit on. Nobody complained about me being Steve Harvey today because I sat in the back. They're like, oh, did you just get here? Nope, I just sat in the back. I didn't want to come up front, sit with the family, have them to turn around and look at me like, oh, he's here. So I just sat in the back and I chilled, Chilled, that's what I did. I chilled. And that was it. I chilled. Yeah. So that was it. I chilled in the back with my oldest uncle, who is 91, 92 years old. Yeah. Chilled in the back with Uncle Sonny. Mr. T, you remember what I said about Mr. T and his change? No, what about it? Thank you. Yeah, it was Auntie Beverly, who was they said she had a real job at one time, but you could find her every August after the Bud Billiken parade selling candy with my cousin Renee. So that's what Auntie Beverly did. She sold candy after the after the parade. He's the only guy to wear more chains around his neck than his ancestors. Oh! When I give my love to you. 2 in a row for Michael Franks, this time with Brenda Russell. When I give my love to you, right here on Bedtime Stories. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, keeping you company with some of the greatest love songs of all time. Thank you so much, once again to all of my family today at my aunt's funeral, Aunt Beverly. I was just so happy to see everybody. I was just so happy. I was like, look at them. I remember them when they was little. They all grown up now. Hello, Miss Hill. Thank you so much. Happy Monday to you. I was like, amazed because, we all grown up together and, they were all grown up, especially the little ones, my little cousins. They're all grown up now, like Lawana. It's like I remember her as a little bald-headed baby. Now, she got hair for days. This beautiful, long, silky hair. She's like, oh, cuz, I'm so happy to see. I'm like, don't make me cry. Get your hands off of me, Luana. Don't make me cry. She always does, because her dad was like the DJ in the family before me, right? Speebo, we don't have to talk about love. We can talk about sports. What you say? You almost spit this out. John Caldwell, Miss Hill. John Caldwell, Miss Hill. Mm-mm. We don't have to talk about love. John Caldwell. You missed it earlier, John. I did my Sid McCoy imitation. And DJ Ronnie said, ooh, you sound just like him. Ooh, look at, ooh, shot. Ooh. Oh no. Which is funny because I was watching the news tonight, and this guy is a manager at a Taco Bell up north somewhere, and he told this guy to clock out, and the guy said, "Yeah, I'm gonna clock out all right. I'm gonna clock out all right." And he reached into his bag, pulled out a pistol, and shot his manager in the shoulder. I know it's not funny, but you know. Hello, Dad. I'm at work. Oh, you at work this time of night? Hey, I love you too, son. So yeah, the guy told him to clock out. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna clock out, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna clock out. Reached in his bag, shot him in the shoulder. And the manager was Sincere Adams Grind. I know that's right. Shot the manager. This is at Homewood somewhere. I don't know, wherever it was. But it was like, how do you bring a gun to Taco Bell and shoot your manager because he told you to clock out? Well, if he told you to clock out, just go home. You know. Oh no, he decided he was going to bust a cap in his manager. And how he was describing it, and you all are going, I know I'm going to get hate mail from the LBTQG LMNOP community, but the manager was gay. And he described it, you know, I'm like I said, I'm about to get in some trouble, but he said, well, I told him to clock out. And he said, oh, I'm going to clock out all right. I'm going to clock out all right. I mean, the guy was, you know, the manager was, I'm going to clock out all right. And he reached in his bag. You know, the manager did everything but say honey and child. So, you know, when I was watching it, I added the honey and the child in there. Honey, child, I tell you. And he pulled out a gun and he shot me. He shot me. I'm like, oh, if this ain't Little Richard's son, I don't know who is. I tell you. Let them be mad, upset. Who cares? Tell us what was going on. He said, I told him, you could clock out now. He said, oh, I'm going to clock out all right. He reached into his bag and he shot me. He shot me. I was like, oh, Lord. He shot. I know I'm going to hell for that, but. And he shot me in my arm. Woo! I was like, oh my goodness. No, he didn't. He didn't get on TV. that's how he described it. He said it. And he shot me. I was like, okay. So that was it. That was it. That was all. That was the whole news clip, you know. And you see the manager in the sling and whoever the lady was talking to him about what had happened. So, you know. He shot me, honey. He shot me. Woo! He shot me in my arm. Some bug flying in here. I told him he could clock out and go home. He said, oh, I'm going to clock out all right. Woo! Bam, bam, boom, bam, 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 boom. I'm going to shoot you. Oh, yes, I am. So that was it. And instead of asking to be let go from his job, he asked to be transferred to another Taco Bell. The manager, he asked to be transferred to another Taco Bell. Do you hear me? You can't make this up. He asked to be transferred to another Taco Bell. Okay. So everybody's going to know who he is when he goes to the new Taco Bell after being transferred. He said, "Oh, you were the gay guy on TV that got shot by the employee." Pretty much so. Now, does Mexico have a restaurant chain called Burger Chan? Wouldn't that be something? Taco Bell, Burger Chan. And get this, and it's funny you should say that. I worked with this gentleman who was Hispanic. He went home and he asked his mother what a chalupa was. She said, in so many words, "We ain't got no effing chalupas. That's something they made up." Of course, his mother doesn't talk like that, but it's hard to do a Mexican accent on a woman without doing the stereotypical one that they use on Family Guy. No, 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 you're too fat. You're too fat. It serves Mexican, right? It's Americanized. Americanized. I tell you, Americanized. What an ending. From the album Journey to the Garden of Love. It's Narada Michael Walden and Delightful, who just happens to be the cousin of a gentleman whom I work with, and his name is Matt McGill. I said, "Matt, can I get an interview with Narada Michael Walden?" "Oh man, no, hey man, no problem. I got you, okay, cool. All right, look it up." So I let a day go by. I said, okay, because I'm real excited because I would love to interview Narada Michael Walden, right? He produced everybody from Stacey Lattisaw to Stephanie Mills, so on and so forth. Not the Jones girls, but the other girls. But anyway, it'll come to me later on. But I'm like, okay. So I let a day go by. I asked them, a day later. I said, Matt, did you talk to your cousin?" "Yeah, man." He said, I got to talk to his publicist and all that stuff. Like, you have to go through his publicist and you're his cousin? Maybe you're not his cousin then. Maybe you just made the whole story up, Matt McGill. You got my hopes up so high I was going to interview Narada Michael Walden on my Bedtime Story show. And you tell me that I can call his publicist. That's no problem. I can set up the interview myself. But I thought, I would get a little, some perks because I knew Matt. So, it didn't work. Anyway, Narada is a killer drummer. He is, between him and Billy Cobham, oh yeah, they cook. Y'all, here's EU and their only slow jam. They had two big hits, The Butt and this one, Taste of Your Love. It just sounds like the butt slowed down. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories. You met him back in 1992. Guess who I met? I met, oh, what was his name? Oh God. He played on Got to Be Real by Cheryl Lynn. And I can't think of his name. It'll come to me. But this guy told me his name. It was John something. I'm like, man, you a star. You played drums on this song, and you played. He's like, you know my whole hit. Like, that's all I do is read album covers. One of these days I'm gonna be on the radio and I'm gonna tell all of these tidbits to people and entertain them. He's like, get away from me, you nerd. Okay, and that was it. He played drums on the Cheryl Lynn album. With To Be Real. Um, who else was on there? Ray Parker Jr. played guitar on there. But the drummer, I forgot the drummer. I forgot his name. He had a real cool name. Like, yeah. I said, man, you a star, man. He's like, yeah, whatever. Get away from me, kid. Who played drums on Cheryl Lynn's Got to Be Real? James Gatson. Yep, James Gatson. Mm-mm. David Page on keyboards, David Shields on bass, and of course Ray Parker Jr. Ray Parker Jr. was the only guitar player on that song. Now, they said there was no arrangement. There was a slight arrangement on it, but for the most part, the guitar part was all done by Ray Parker Jr. And that was it. Ray Parker Jr. stole your heart just like I stole right, exactly. But just like he stole I Want a New Drug from Huey Lewis in the News. Now you know Gadsden was, they call him Gatitude from the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band, which was discovered by none other than Bill Cosby. I discovered them because they did the song Express Yourself, and I helped them get on Warner Brothers Records. And that's a true story. He discovered the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band. Charles Wright and the Watts 100. So Express Yourself and Do Your Thing and Love Land and all that stuff. That was all because of Bill Cosby. Yep, he was Bill Withers' drummer. Because I remember watching this video. They were doing a live video of Ain't No Sunshine. And there was Gatson in the back, who was the inspiration for the character Animal. You can't make this stuff up. He's the inspiration for the character Animal in the Muppets movies. Yeah. That's Gatson. Because Gatson is always, he's always happy when he's playing. Gatson and Bernard Pretty Purdy. They always cheesing when they, it's the truth. You think I'm lying? Pull up a picture of Gatson and then pull up Animal. John's gonna be like, okay, that's Gatson and that's Animal. Oh, okay, all right, I see the resemblance. The Purdy Shuffle. Yep, he came up with that. And he does the drum solo on Rock Steady by Aretha Franklin. That is like the best drum solo ever in R&B music. Boom, that 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 that. I pull up a picture of Ron Simmons and see what Al would look like if he had muscle. Thank you. King Curtis played alto sax on all of Aretha's earlier hits. Respect, um, Dr. Feelgood, all of that stuff. Yeah. Yep, sure did. Yep. Yeah. I'm like, dang. Cheryl Lynn. Mm-mm. Anyway, so did any of the ladies go down to the Black Women's Expo last weekend? No, nobody. Okay, cool. Mm-mm. The Purdy Shuffle. Yeah. But speaking of drummers, one of the greatest drummers in R&B music was Benny Benjamin, um, of course, the Funk Brothers. All the Funk Brothers were great, all of them. It was like they were all hand-picked jazz musicians. They said Benny Benjamin had played with Ray Charles. So he said Benjamin had had a way of locking in the time. So the song was the same beat throughout, from the first to the last beat. Because most drummers, towards the end of the song, they lose the groove and they speed it up. Vic Jackson, what's going on, Slick Vic? If you ever listen to the song "It's All the Way Live" by Lakeside, I don't know if they purposely speed it up at the end, but it goes a lot, it loses its groove once it gets to the end. And it goes into a little Latin thing, and then they lose the groove. Same thing with Fantastic Voyage. It starts out down, 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 and towards the end, it's like down, 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 down. Yeah. Anyway, what do I know about music? Not a doggone thing. That's why I got musicologist behind my name, because I'm a musicologist, whatever that means. Mm-mm. So I did this party Saturday. Well, let me save that for the air. Save that story for the air. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like they sampled that song, originally done by One Way featuring Al Hudson or Al Hudson and the Soul Partners. The song was called Lost Inside of You by Al Hudson. It was on their album called Spreading Love. It had a picture of a baby on the cover. And after that, they switched record companies. And they took that song to their new record company and they re released it. And it became a hit all over again. Lost Inside of You from Round Trip, originally done by Al Hudson and the Soul Partners, or Al Hudson and the Partners. They had so many names. Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all times. 13 minutes away from, you guessed it, foreplay right here. Here's the first of two in a row from the Lost Generation. Yeah, they went from ABC to MCA. Yep. And they kept some of the same, people in the group. But of course, one of my favorite songs by not Lakeside, but by Soul Partners, Al Hudson, is Mr. Groove. And I think that it was a fitting tribute to James Brown. And when I hear the song, I think about Wayne Fields. I always think about Wayne when I hear that. Because he was definitely Mr. Groove. I got to give my brother credit where credit is due. Wonder what happened to that tall rack I sold him. Wonder if he ever sold it. Not that I need it now, because, it'd be nice to have it, though. I don't know where I'm going to put it, but, I'm running out of space in this room. So, I'm going to put the TV behind me. Wouldn't that be cool? I'm going to have a big old TV in here, in this little bitty room. Yeah. Got a TV in here, TV out there, TV here, a TV there, a TV everywhere, a TV. So, if I'm running out of room in here, which is cool because then it'll absorb some of the sound. Young girl, be true, love, be true. The sly, the slick, the wicked, wicked, wicked. Avery Pack, what's going on, sir? Long time no see. You see? What's going on, Avery? I'll be right back, guys. Talk amongst yourselves. Excuse me while I whip this sucker out. Woo! Avery, still around doing the thing. All right. That's cool. That's cool. I apologize for the quality of that track. Love on a Two-Way Street from the Lost Generation right here on Bedtime Stories. Of course, that's not the original. That was a remake done right here in Chicago. They were known, of course, for the song Sly Slick and the Wicked. And they did that song, which was made famous by two people, actually. A few years later, there was a remake done by Miss Stacy Lattisaw, which was produced by the writer Michael Walden. And I didn't even know that this wasn't the original song. There's a young lady by the name of Leslie Valentine who did this song originally. And then the Moments picked it up and made it a hit. Here's Love on a Two-Way Street from the Moments right here on Bedtime Stories. Two-way street. I lost it all along the highway. Love on a two-way street. I lost it all along the highway. So I've been told. Doing the life thing. All right. Miss Hill says nothing like the original. I say cancel all remakes. Doesn't sound the same. Well, if we cancel all remakes, that means that Luther would have no career. Because Luther Vandross made a whole career out of doing remakes. And that brings us to tonight's foreplay artist. So blind. Just a city boy, born and raised in. Yep, song about was it John and Diana? I don't know. I just butchered that one. I'm sorry. Jack and Diane. He has some cuts that he wrote himself too. Yeah, I know. But you got to think you know, most of his big hits were all remakes. He was a pretty good songwriter, and he was an even better interpreter of other music, other people's music. You know, he could hear their music and just, do his thing from their music. Wasn't Luther an arranger as well? Yes, he was. He did a lot of vocal arrangements for both the group Chic and for Change. Yeah, excuse me. The Moments and Love on a Two-Way Street, right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep. With the greatest love songs of all time. Right here on the internet, on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis, and WRLN, the best music of your life here in Chicago. And of course, WDLB is Indianapolis and Chicago now. Yeah, that WCHI, which they took from that other to the rock station, but that's cool. Anyway, we were talking about remakes. I was listening to or watching, well, I had it actually on in the other room while I was in the bathroom this morning. I heard Luther. He was on some show that they did. It was a tribute to Smokey Robinson. And they decided to have Luther to do some of Smokey's songs. Well, there's a song that Smokey wrote for The Temptations, which is one of the ultimate remakes. So I said, why don't we just do this, John and Avery, and Miss Hill too? Why don't we just do Foreplay on a specific artist, but not his songs, but somebody else's songs? Just like I did the other night with the Isley Brothers, right? All the Isley Brothers remakes. Us and folks, we had a way of interpreting their music and kind of making it our own. So tonight in Foreplay, we will feature a certain artist, but right now it's time to do the Grubhub delivery dance. Let's do it.
The kind of deals that make you boogie. Get the food you love with perks from
That's right, Grub What You Love, a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Like I said earlier, this man had a knack of taking other people's songs and making them hits. Originally from, was he from Brooklyn or was he from, oh, he's from Harlem. At one point, while in school, he told everybody that he was a cousin of Dionne Warwick. So he did that. They were like, well, can you get us tickets to see Dionne Warwick since she's your cousin? He was like, did I say cousin? Well, she's like a distant cousin, twice removed, But anyway, this guy went on to be a great arranger as well as a singer. At one point, he went to a record company and they told him that he couldn't sing. He signed a contract with Sony Records and stayed there for almost 20 years, which is unheard of. Next to Michael Jackson, he was probably the second best selling artist, R&B, on that particular label. That's right, Luther Vandross. This is after he left the group Change. When he left the group Change, he joined Chic. He left Chic, only to come back and arrange all their vocals, which is ironic because there's a song that he uses their track. And the name of the song is called Shine, where he uses a track of Chic's My Forbidden Lover that he sang on originally. Tonight we feature in Foreplay the music of others as seen by the great Luther Vandross, one of the greatest voices of all time. Right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. If only send me the name of the plumber. I got another leak. I need him. I got his number, but I can't remember his name. His name is Rick Lewis. Pretty Ricky, that's what they call him. Rick Lewis. Rick Lewis. Yep. It would be so nice if only for one night. That's all I need is one night. One night, oh. Like, what is he looking for? Oh, boo. Grubhub. Lufer. Pretty Ricky can go sat down somewhere. Okay. Are you referring? Are you referring to my plumber? And he's a pretty nice guy too. Send me the number, please. Sure. Sending the number now, Angela. I mean, I gave you his name, I guess, but of course, that's never good enough. Yeah. Like a puppy and a goldfish. All right. How old are you, Miss Hill? I don't think Angie, who's from the country, knows that. But anyway. That's some country ass. Rick Lewis. Rick Lewis. Well, that's Lucas. I don't even think I have his number. Are you talking about the singer if he's a singer? Okay. Okay. Rick Lewis. Like now I can't find his name. I can't find it. Rick McCain, Rick Party, Rick the Toe Man. Okay. Won't need him no more. Bob Seger is a singer. Yes, he is. What's her name? Kendra. Hey, Spoon, send me your husband's number. Does it work for him? He made Nutbush City a hit after some Tina Trina woman butchered it. Oh, no. Oh, no. No, you didn't.
No, you didn't, Troy.
You found it. Oh, I figured you'd find it after I went through all of that trouble. I knew you would. Trying to adjust my mood. Now I won't do it. Okay, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. Okay. There we go. Better. Quit making the record skip. I keep bumping the table. I'm hitting the turntable. Sorry. I'm back. So I saw this movie the other night, which is unusual for me because I never watch a movie all the way through. But I did last night because it was good. That movie was good. The movie was The Perfect Man. It starred Shania Lathan, Morris Chestnut, and the green-eyed monster, Michael Ealy. Now, before Miss Hill starts drooling, in this movie, Mr. Green Eyes plays this murderer. Now, the movie's been out for a while. You know, this was after they did, the Steve Harvey movie. So, he is like the perfect man. He she breaks up with the Morris Chestnut character. And then 2 months later, she runs into this guy, all suave and debonair, got the green eyes going and, the big old teeth and everything else. So she falls for him. Then one night, they're at a gas station. They're coming back from her parents' house. And this guy looks like he's trying to holler at her, right? Some redneck guy. So he sees this out the side of his eye. He sees this, this guy, white guy trying to holler at this woman to annihilate them. And he comes over and starts beating the crap out of the guy, right? So she's like, I've never seen this side of him and this, that. She tells her girlfriends, and one of the girlfriends said, well, maybe you should hear him out, But he starts going off and doing crazy stuff. So if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil it for you. But it doesn't end well for him. I'll just say it like that. So the police can't get anything on him. They can't do nothing. He ain't threatened nobody. He ain't put his hands on nobody. And he just takes her through it in this movie. But like I said, if you haven't seen the movie, because, I'm catching up on movies. I'm like, I'm at like 2011. Catch up on, I'm almost there. It sounds like a Lifetime picture. It does. But it doesn't end well for him. And finally, the police officer that's been on the case, he says, well, there's nothing that we can do, ma'am. Let's go out and have some coffee. She looks at him like, that's it? Coffee? What? Okay. So she meets the police officer for coffee, right? And the police officer tells her, look, I couldn't see this in my office, but, you buy your shotgun, he comes up to you, you put 2 beanbag shots in the shell casing, and everything after that is a gun. The first 2 are considered a warning shot. After that, smoke his ass. I'm sorry, I just gave away the movie. I should have shut up. I couldn't hold it. I'll tell you. So the moral of the story is, and yes, Angie, I warmed up your spaghetti. So the moral of the story is, fellas, you have a chance to walk away and keep some dignity. No, she had coffee with the police officer who gave her the advice to tell her that, if he comes into your house and you shoot him, it's self-defense. That's what I meant. So, yeah. So Avery, she gave him the warning shot. She shot him in the leg at first. He said, "What are you going to do, kill me?" I said, "Okay, it's 7 casings in here. 2 of them are bean bags. I don't know what the rest of them are." So, first she shot him in the leg. That was the warning shot. Second time, she shot him in the shoulder. That's when he said, "You were trying to kill me?" And he lunged at her a third time. She popped him right in the chest. hmm That was it. You know. And she lived happily ever after. hmm But Michael Easley, he was, or Ely, I'm sorry. Did you ever hear about all the poison pasta in Chicago? Evidently, it's been causing gonorrhea and mud butt. That's interesting. It's some good spaghetti, though. Mm-mm. Probably be worth the mud butt. So, yay. That was a good movie. I mean, I couldn't go to sleep. I could not go to sleep. This guy was, I mean, the Michael Easley character, or Ely, whatever his name is. He schmoozed the parents and everything. He took the dad. He brought the mama flowers and took the dad to a Dodgers game. "You're welcome anytime here, son." That was Charles S. Dutton, formerly known as Rock. hmm What's on the menu? It's called spaghetti. It's a it's a invention that they had from a long time ago, from from Italy. Yeah. hmm Mm. I'm sure it was, Miss Hill, which is why my sister cooks for me, because uh, people always saying that they're going to cook for me and they're going to bring me food and they never show up. So what she does is she just goes ahead and cooks. And when it's done, she's like, "Okay, come get your plate," because I know no one else is going to feed you except, you know, and that's it. Mm. So that's wonderful that you ate, and I'm sure it was delicious. But like I said, people are always promising me, "Man, I'm gonna bring you some food, Al. I'm gonna hook you up." Sure you are, sweetheart. Okay, you know. Or I'll offer, take someone to breakfast and then they don't show up. But it's cool. I understand. Mm. But But understand, I'm not going to wait for anyone to feed me. Trust me. Trust me. Angie said, I just made extra. Well, this extra is good. It's just that, people are always talking about they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And that's it. Thank you. I mean, sometimes they're just so sweet. They're like, oh, are you going to cook for me? I'm going to cook for you. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. Don't be mad when a young lady by the last name of Greer shows up. Don't be mad. Yep. I don't cook often anymore. Stopped doing that months ago. Okay. There's an old saying, I'm sure you've heard of it. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I'm just saying. There are two things that men like to do, and they both start with F. Feed me and leave me the alone. That's it. It's simple. We're simple. With women, they want to go shopping and they want to do this and they want to go to the show and they want to go to dinner. Then they'll, then they'll hook you up. But not before you hook them up. I want to go to the 100th floor of the John Hancock building. Okay. Been there, done that. But us, it's real simple. You don't have to take us anywhere. You can do all of that in the comfort of your own home. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to go to the show. I got a big screen TV up front, and the sound system sound better than the show. And that's it. The signature room. No McDonald's for her, huh? Took this lady to the signature room atop the John Hancock building. Avery, you best believe it was on and popping that night. It was on and popping. Same thing. I took this lady to go see Brian McKnight. She was Brian McKnight crazy. I want to see Brian McKnight. Oh, I want to. If you take me to see Brian McKnight, I said, okay. You ain't said nothing. I made a phone call. Boop. Hey, Pat Edwards, I need tickets to see Brian McKnight. Your tickets will be at will call at the House of Blues, Al. Cool, thanks. Boop. Be ready when I pick you up. 4 in a row from the great Luther Vandross. All of those remakes, original songs, of course, done by actually written by Smokey Robinson of Smokey Robinson and the Miracles for the Temptations. That was Since I Lost My Baby. We also heard Superstar. No, we didn't hear Superstar. We heard If Only for One Night, which was originally recorded by Brenda Russell. Then it went into Creepin', which was written by Smokey. Got Smokey on the brain. Stevie Wonder. House and Not a Home, originally done by the one and only Miss Dionne Warwick. He performed it in front of her, and she was like, "Did I do that song? Was that my song?" Luther put his tongue on it, and that was it. You didn't want it back. Mm-mm. Speaking of songs that he just, went ahead and redid and said, "Okay, this is my song now." This song was originally done by Benny King, all by himself, but Luther decided he was going to do a duet with Martha Wash of the Weather Girls. This is I Who Have Nothing, another Luther Vandross remake, right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Mm-mm. That's why I'm single. I don't have time for that anymore. I heard that. You go, girl. I ain't mad at you. I hear you. I ain't mad at you at all. I used to mentor people. My students at work. Well, when I was working for Kennedy King, and they would always come and ask me for advice. And being you know not a counselor or anything else, but being instructor over at Kennedy King, I felt it was my duty to help some of the students out. And I would give them, my advice on, excuse me, whatever they wanted to get into. And my thing is, I always told them, I said, well, if you're trying to get into something, I'm sorry, let me word it the other way. Say, for instance, something didn't work out for you, and you say, "I'll never do that again." So, well, you're young. Youth allows you a whole lot of chances to do stuff. Me, my time is up. I don't have very many more chances to do stuff. They always say, wait on the Lord. And I do. I wait on him because I know that he has something better than anything that I could ever come up with. And that's just it. When I was living in someone's basement a few months ago, I never thought that I would have my own place ever again. My own place. I thought I was going to end up back at the Montclair, but this time, drooling with my father's robe on and in a wheelchair. I figured that's the only way I'm going back to the Montclair. That's it. And halfway out of my mind. That's the only way. And then I saw my uncle today, who's 91 years old, who's still getting around. He might be on a cane and a walker, but he's 91 years old. And I looked at him And he and my dad looked so much alike. And I looked at him and I didn't say anything. I said, I'm going to see if he knows who I am. And my Uncle Sonny took one look at me. He's like, you know, he knew exactly who I was because I looked like my father, who looks like him. So that was it. That there made my day because my uncle, who's 91 years old, knew who I was. He recognized me. And that, you know, I just wished I had had enough time to sit down and talk with him. That's always been my thing, to sit down and talk to the elders, as it were. You know, my uncle Larry, he's up in age, but it's always interesting to hear. I mean, 91 years old, 91. You know, once again, I just wish I had enough time to sit and talk to him. You know, and like Uncle Sonny recognized me. You know, he was with his daughter, my cousin Joy. And he looked at me. He's like, it wasn't like, you know, oh, who are you? You know, it's like immediately he knew who I was. And, you know, like I said, it meant a whole lot to me that he knew who I was. At 91 years old. You know, I helped him. I took his walker out of the back of the SUV that they were driving. And yeah, 91 is a milestone. And, you know, he started asking me questions about, you know, Herb Kent and Purvis Spann. I'm like, this man is sharp. You know, I'm sorry I had to tell him that, you know, both Purvis Spann and Herb Kent were gone, but, you know, he's not in that circle. He's not in that. He's not, like the kids say, he ain't of that life. You know, I don't even think he'd been vaccinated. So I'm hoping that nothing happens to him. You know, I'm hoping that he's, you know, going to be okay. So, but yeah, 91 years old. I'm like, bless your heart. That is truly a milestone, Avery. That is truly, you know, I hope to know who everybody is at 71. You know, that's another, 10 years from now. I hope to know who everybody is at 81. I hope to make it to 91. You know, they said George Burns lived to be 100. He smoked a cigar a day, and he lived to be 100 years old. George Burns. So, but I have an old saying, Miss Hill. Money I can always make. You know, whether I work a regular 9 to 5 or whatever. Money I can always make. It's the time that I can never get back. Never. Money I can always make. Time I can never get back. At the end of the day, you can't get that back. You know, you could drop some money on the ground. Oh man, I lost $100. The Lord will give you 200. Oh man, I dropped my phone. T-Mobile will give you another phone. You take the 200 that the Lord gave you and go get you another phone. It works like that. It's, you know, not to be preachy or whatever. It's the way of the world. You know, he's like, oh, Yeah, here's 200. Go get you another phone, man. Go. Thank you, Lord. Okay, all right. You know, like this weekend, I wanted this mixer. I don't know why. I just wanted it. I wanted it. I didn't need it. I had another one, same size as the one I already have. So I drove all the way to Bolingbrook to get this mixer, right? The guy was selling it for $80. A mixer, kind of like this, what I'm using now, a mixer. And I drove all the way to Bolingbrook to get it. Met him at the Bolingbrook um, uh, post office. Some kid was selling it. I guess he didn't know what it was, or he used it and said, okay, I'm going to get rid of it. I'm going to get some money, buy me some PlayStation games. Got all the way out there. All I had was 20s. And this mixer was what, $75. I said, do you have 5 in change to give me back? He said, just give me 60. Okay. So I gave the little boy, young man, $60. Grabbed the mixer, put it on the seat, got back on the E-way, made it to work on time at Williams and Pizza, and that was it. Not a problem. Got to the pizza place, plugged it up, one of the knobs fell off. But I was able to put it back on because, I don't trip like that. For $60, a mixer that I'm going to be using Friday, maybe Saturday, maybe, at the African Fest. Oh, that's right. I can't do Friday at the African Fest. I got to be here. I can't do Saturday. I can do Friday, but I can't do Saturday. So that's it. So, and then I got paid that night, put that money in the bank, and then I got more money Sunday from playing Little Drummer Boy in church. So that's it. Another masterpiece from my main man, Luther Vandross, The Impossible Dream. You know who else did that song and did a great job? That was Paul Williams of the group The Temptations, of course. And he sang that song on TV. Did a great job. Luther took it and just took it to a whole new level. The Impossible Dream from the play and the movie Man of La Mancha. Yeah. Yeah, Luther put some soul in that stuff. It's your Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. This young lady was discovered in Gary singing at a record store. That record store, of course, is closed or has been closed since then. It's actually in the same spot. It's just closed. It was United Records, and she was found singing in this record store. And they took her to Chicago and recorded her. And as they say, the rest is history. Here's Denise Williams, and it's gonna take a miracle right here on Bedtime Stories. Speaking of remakes, gonna take a miracle. Ooh. Yes, it's gonna take a miracle. Sing, Niecy.
Can be sure that now it's gonna take a miracle.
Uh-oh. You played 12 seconds of It's Gonna Take a Miracle by Denise Williams. Would you like to contest this? No. Sure don't. The same as before. Sing, Niecy. When I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to listen to Denise Williams records. And she had this one song. I swore up and down that she was singing to me. Yep, I thought she was singing to me. Alas, she wasn't. She was just singing a song. Cause I'm crazy, crazy about you, boy. Yeah, yeah. So Niecy was supposed to go on stage one night at the American Music Awards to receive an award for her song. Let's hear it for the boy. And instead, at the last minute, she changed and decided she was going to sing a whole totally different song. The band, everybody was stunned. They were stunned of what came out of her mouth. She sang the song God is Truly Amazing, a cappella, and she killed it. She sang, God is truly amazing. And everybody was just stunned. The background singers, they were waiting to sing, let's hear it. She changed it at the last minute. Didn't tell anybody what she was going to sing. They introduced her, and she was supposed to cue the band to start playing, right? They never got that cue. And she ripped into this song. God is truly amazing. She did it a cappella, or as Tornado used to say, Acapulco. And she When I say she wailed on that song, she wailed on it. Yep. And of course, she was never invited back to any of the award shows. She didn't know how to act. She said, I'll fix y'all. I'm going to sing this instead of that. She booked the system. Mm-mm. So every now and then I'll watch Steve Harvey's postings. And he posted how when he was homeless, he said he didn't have no money in his pocket. Said he called his answering machine. Somebody asked him to come, come to New York to audition for a Showtime at the Apollo. Didn't have the money. Something told him to call back his machine. Found out he had a gig to do in I think he said Pensacola, Florida. The gig paid $150, which was enough to get him, to the audition in New York, of which he was going to drive. They said he killed that night. He said the other guys didn't quite make it. He said he killed that night. The guy asked him to come back a second night. He said, I'm going to pay another $150. He said he ended up getting on the plane, got to the Apollo. He didn't have nowhere to go. All he had was the money that he had gotten from the 2 gigs that he did. And the guy said, well, you can't stay here. You can't stay in this building. He said, man, I don't have nowhere else to go. They let him, he ended up staying in the building. He got hungry. And the guy that told him he couldn't leave the room said, okay, if you're not back, you're not getting back into this theater. He came back. He killed on the Apollo. He said the comedians that were out there, they got booed. He said they booed D.L. Hewley. They booed Jamie Foxx. He said he got out there and he killed it. Said he nailed it. He nailed it so well that he became one of the permanent hosts of Showtime at the Apollo. The 2 hosts had gone into TV, and they asked him, did he want to be the host? And that was it. He said the rest was history. Really? That is my go-to whenever I do karaoke. That is the song that I do my karaoke to. Practice What You Preach, of course, done by the maestro Barry White. Right here on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Thank you so much for joining us as always. I got 8 more minutes. I'm going to play this song. This is not a love song. It's what I call a loved song. And it's a pretty tune, and of course it got these 2 a Grammy for this particular song. Here's Johnny Mathis and Denise Williams. Too Much, Too Little, too late on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This away. Without hesitation. Tits McGee. That's how you end the show right there. Phyllis Hyman, Michael Henderson. Produced by Norman Connors from the album You Are My Starship. We both need each other. Thank you so much for joining me for Bedtime Stories here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis and Chicago, and of course, the best music of your life.com here in Chicago. To all of my family and friends, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for listening tonight. Good seeing some of my family today at my aunt's homecoming. I really appreciate it. Thank you for the love. But it's okay to still call me by my nickname when I was a kid. Everybody was like, Al Greer, Al Greer. I'm like, yeah, okay. Y'all didn't call me that when I was little. But anyway, it was little Al. Avery, thank you so much. John Caldwell. Also to Troy Anthony, as always. And of course, who could forget Tits McGee? Till next time, blue skies, green lights, and peace. Good night, Miss Delicious, wherever you are. All right, ladies and germs. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me. I appreciate you guys. You make my night, my day, all of that stuff. Enjoy the rest of your morning, evening, whatever time you're listening from, whatever time slot or time zone that you're listening. Appreciate it. Thank you. Forgot to tell you to share the video, but too late now. All right. I'll holla. We'll talk tomorrow night. All right.